question over the high number of pupils who leave school before they sit GCSEs. Data seen by this programme shows hundreds are being excluded or leave before the exams. It's led to fears that head teachers could be getting rid of poor-performing students to boost their place in official tables. Here's our education reporter, Mark Ashdown.
Mid-January is school census time. They count them up to count towards a school's results and league table standing. A good time then for difficult or underachieving pupils to disappear. So in the face of persistent claims that some schools use pupil moves or exclusions even to boost their league table results, researchers looked at comprehensive data over 4 year groups. Education Data Lab looked at how many pupils started and completed school at every secondary in England. They found at some schools hundreds of pupils weren't sitting GCSE exams at the same school they started at. They'd left or been excluded. So what impact could that have on league tables? Well, researchers reweighted the tables, giving more weight the longer a student stayed. Of the 100 schools which would have seen the biggest negative shift, 62 were in London, 9 part of the successful Harris Federation. This school, Harris Academy Greenwich, would have seen the biggest single impact. Now, over the 4 year period, 611 pupils started here, but at some point or another, 217 left. Now, if they'd stayed for 1 year group, it would have seen its pass rate drop by 15 percentage points, and that would have seen it plummet down the league tables. Pupils who leave are more likely to be from poorer backgrounds or have special educational needs. Cheryl started a support group for parents after her son was removed from school she thought unfairly.
Say, for example, I take just last year alone. I think I dealt with easily 10 to 15 calls a day from parents of children as young as 6 and 7, and particularly those that are coming into GCSE age where they've been kicked out of school just before their GCSEs.
League tables are very important to heads and to schools now. We do think in a minority of cases there might be some heads who are using pupil moves to boost their league table performance.
What does this show up about the credibility of league tables?
It makes us think certainly that there are weaknesses in them. We think they'd be improved by making schools accountable for all the children who'd spent time with them, whether or not they end up there at the end of year 11.
The Harris Federation told us much of the data predates the schools joining the chain when they were failing. All of them continue to have a high proportion of disadvantaged pupils. The Department for Education says exclusions should only be issued on disciplinary grounds, and ministers are looking at introducing stronger measures so schools are accountable for the progress of pupils even if they do leave.
So Mark, we know, don't we, that league tables can be controversial. How significant is this?
Well, it certainly could bring it all to a head, and as we heard, there is a problem across the country, but especially here in London. There are a few reasons for that, I should note. Firstly, there's more choice of schools than anywhere else in London, and also there's quite high mobility rates. Families move around a lot, so children move too. And there are, I should point out, strict rules about especially excluding people. Schools have to have a very, very good reason. But this has been a school gate gripe for many years. I've heard it, we've all heard it. Some schools are suspected by parents of trying to game an edge out of the system, and this is the first time we've had such comprehensive data across 4 years looking at the issue, and it does seem to suggest that it does go on, so this is significant. Now, there are 2 ways really I think they could tackle this. Firstly, make the school tables less important. If they weren't such the be all and end all for parents, then there wouldn't be the incentive for schools to perhaps try and do this, or as it seems ministers look like they're going to try and do, try and make sure schools are accountable for all the pupils they've taught. So if, for example, if people leave school, especially towards the end of their school life in year 5, just before exams, wherever they end up, their results somehow reflect on the school they left as well.
OK, thank you.